Welcome to this peaceful night, a time for your mind and body to completely unwind. Before we begin our journey into the ancient past, take a deep, slow breath in. Feel the cool air fill your lungs, and then let it go, releasing all the tension, all the thoughts, and all the noise of the day. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let the room around you fade into a soft, warm darkness. You are entirely safe, and there is nothing else you need to do tonight but listen to the sound of my voice and the gentle rhythm of the wind. Tonight we are traveling back over 800 years, leaving behind the modern world to walk through the quiet, sun-drenched stone corridors of medieval Jerusalem. We are going to witness the life of a young boy who became a king, an outcast, and an absolute legend. A boy who carried an unimaginable physical burden with a spirit so fierce and yet so calm that he earned the respect of both his friends and his greatest enemies. This is the deeply moving and soothing story of Baldwin IV, known to history as the Leper King. As the night deepens, let your mind drift across the oceans, across the centuries, to a land of golden sands, swaying olive trees, and quiet ancient stone walls. Imagine the soft, warm breeze of the desert brushing gently against your face. The sun is setting over the horizon, painting the sky in deep shades of purple, indigo, and gold. The stars are beginning to blink into existence, one by one, casting a peaceful, silver glow over the earth. In this place, time moves slowly, the rush of life softens, and the stories of the past rise up like incense into the night sky. Let yourself float into this world as we begin the chronicle of the Boy King. Part 2. Childhood. The year is 1161. In the grand stone palace of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, a young prince is born. His name is Baldwin. From the very moment of his birth, he is surrounded by the heavy expectations of a kingdom caught between worlds. He is the son of King Almaric I and Queen Agnes of Courtenay. As a child, young Baldwin is the absolute pride of the royal court. He is remarkably handsome, highly intelligent, and possesses a joyful, vibrant energy that lights up the stone rooms of the castle. He spends his early mornings studying ancient texts, learning languages, and listening to the deep wisdom of his tutor, a brilliant and kind scholar named William of Tyre. William looks at the young prince and sees the perfect future ruler. Baldwin is quick-witted, kind-hearted, and has an extraordinary memory. He can recite long passages of philosophy and history with ease. In the golden afternoons, Baldwin loves nothing more than to be outside, in the fresh open air. He runs through the royal olive groves, laughs with his friends, and learns the art of horsemanship. He possesses a natural, effortless bond with horses, controlling them with a gentle yet firm touch. To anyone watching, Baldwin is a young boy destined for a long, glorious, and beautiful life. A prince who would grow up to be a powerful lion of the realm. But destiny, as it so often does, had written a much quieter and more challenging path for the young prince. A path that would require a different kind of strength, not of the body, but of the absolute, unbreakable soul. Let the image of the sunny olive groves fill your mind. Feel the warmth of that ancient sun as we watch the young prince play, completely unaware of the shadow that is about to gently alter his life forever. One warm afternoon, when Baldwin is roughly 9 years old, he is playing a game in the courtyard with his young noble friends. They are playfully competing, pinching each other's arms to see who can tolerate the most pain without crying out. It is a typical, rough game played by children dreaming of becoming knights. As the other boys gasp and pull away with laughter, William of Tyre notices something unusual about the young prince. Baldwin does not flinch. He He does not pull his arm away. His face remains entirely serene, calm, and completely untroubled by pain. At first, the wise tutor thinks the boy is simply demonstrating immense courage, an early sign of royal stoicism. But as the game continues, William grows concerned. He steps forward and gently takes the prince's right arm. He asks Baldwin if he feels the pinches. The young boy looks up with his bright, clear eyes, smiles softly, and shakes his head. "No," he says, "I feel nothing at all." William of Tyre gently presses his fingers into the boy's skin, testing different areas. But Baldwin's right hand and arm are entirely numb, frozen in a strange, painless silence. A quiet chill settles over the courtyard. The laughter of the other children seems to fade into the background. The warm desert air suddenly feels completely still. The royal physicians are summoned to the palace. They are the most learned men of their time. But as they examine the young prince's arm, their faces grow pale and their voices drop to a heavy whisper. They apply hot oils. They use sharp instruments, but Baldwin feels nothing. The diagnosis is kept secret within the highest walls of the palace for as long as possible, but the truth cannot be hidden from the universe. The young prince, the hope of the kingdom, has contracted leprosy. In the medieval world, this word was a terrifying sentence. It was a disease that slowly, piece by piece, took away the body. It was met with intense fear and total isolation. But take a deep breath and realize that this is not a story of defeat. It is the moment where Baldwin's true majesty begins to shine, like a brilliant light in the deepest darkness. Art 4, The Ascension. Time flows onward like water through the desert sands. The disease begins its slow, silent work on the young prince's body, but his mind remains completely untouched, scaling greater heights of wisdom and maturity. His father, King Amalric, refuses to hide his beloved son away from the world. He keeps Baldwin at the center of the court, ensuring he receives the full education of a ruling monarch. Baldwin learns to adapt. Because his right hand is losing its strength and feeling, he trains himself extensively to ride his royal warhorse using only his knees and his balance. He becomes so skilled that he can gallop across the rugged terrain with his hands completely free, a striking image of pure grace and determination. Then, when Baldwin is just 13 years old, tragedy strikes the kingdom. His father, King Amalric, falls deeply ill and passes away. The kingdom is thrown into sudden mourning and a profound uncertainty. The crown of Jerusalem, a heavy golden burden, now rests upon the brow of a 13-year-old boy who is suffering from an incurable illness. On a quiet, solemn morning, Baldwin is led into the church of the Holy Sepulchre. The air is thick with the rich scent of burning frankincense and myrrh. The candlelight flickers against the ancient, cold stone walls. The golden crown is placed gently onto his young head. He is now King Baldwin IV. The people look at their young king with a mixture of profound pity and deep worry. They know the physical toll his illness will take. They wonder how a boy so fragile can protect a kingdom surrounded by massive empires. But as Baldwin sits upon the throne, his posture is perfectly straight. His voice, when he speaks his royal vows, is clear, steady, and resonates through the great stone halls. He wears long, beautiful robes of silk and linen to protect his skin, and soon he begins to wear a delicate veil or a silver mask to hide the progression of the illness from his subjects, not out of shame but out of deep respect for them. To spare them the sight of his suffering. Imagine him sitting there, a young boy enclosed in silver and silk, possessing a mind far wiser than his years, ready to protect his people until his very last breath. While the young king settles into his reign, a great shadow begins to lengthen across the distant desert dunes. To the south and the east, a brilliant, powerful, and deeply respected leader has united the Muslim world. His name is Saladin. Saladin is a master tactician, a deeply religious man, and a ruler of immense chivalry. He looks toward Jerusalem, a city holy to his own faith, and sees a kingdom ruled by a child whose body is failing. Saladin believes that the time has come to reclaim the holy city. He begins to gather a massive army, thousands of seasoned warriors, legendary cavalry, and brilliant commanders. The desert sands tremble under the weight of his march. Inside the walls of Jerusalem, panic begins to ripple through the court. The noble lords and knights argue amongst themselves, some wanting to flee, others wanting to surrender. They look at Baldwin's physical state and see only weakness. But they do not understand the fire that burns within the Leper King. Baldwin listens to his advisors with total silence. He does not join in their panic. He does not raise his voice. He simply waits for the room to grow quiet. When he speaks, his words carry the weight of an absolute ruler. He tells them that Jerusalem will not fall. He tells them that as long as he has breath in his lungs, he will stand between his people and the oncoming storm. He does not view Saladin with hatred. Instead, he views him as a worthy adversary. A profound, unspoken dynamic begins to form between these two leaders. They are separated by faith, separated by war, but completely united in their extraordinary brilliance and mutual respect. As you listen to this, let your mind visualize the vast desert separating these two souls. The fires of Saladin's camp burning bright under the stars, and the quiet candlelight of Baldwin's study in Jerusalem. Two great minds preparing for an inevitable meeting in the sands of time. Part 6. Montgisard the March. The ultimate test arrives in November of the year 1177. Saladin has marched into the kingdom with an overwhelming force of over 26,000 soldiers. They move quickly, sweeping across the countryside, confident in their absolute victory. King Baldwin is only 16 years old. His health has severely declined. He is in constant, agonizing physical pain, and the leprosy has cost him the use of his right arm almost completely. But when the news reaches the palace, Baldwin does not hesitate. He commands his guards to prepare his horse. He can only assemble a tiny force, roughly 370 knights and a few thousand local infantrymen. It is an impossible situation, a drop of water against an ocean of warriors. The small Christian army marches out of the city gates, carrying the true cross ahead of them. Baldwin rides at the front, his body braced against the saddle, his left hand holding the reins. They intercept Saladin's massive army near a small hill known as Montgisard. The sun is beating down brutally upon the golden earth. The air is thick with dust, heat, and the heavy scent of anticipation. Saladin's army, believing the young king is incapable of fighting, has spread out, caught completely off guard by the sudden appearance of the royal standard. But before the battle begins, something extraordinary happens. Something that would be written into the history books for 1,000 years. King Baldwin, exhausted, weak, and burning with fever, dismounts from his horse. He steps onto the hot, shifting sands of the desert. His legs tremble under his weight, but he refuses to fall. He kneels down in the dust, in full view of all his knights. He stretches out his hands toward the heavens, and he begins to pray. He prays for the safety of his people. He prays for strength, and he offers his own suffering for the protection of his kingdom, as his knights look upon their teenage king, kneeling in the dirt, wrapped in bandages, possessing nothing but pure, unadulterated courage. Something shifts within them, a wave of profound inspiration sweeps through the ranks. Their fear completely vanishes, replaced by a quiet, devastating resolve. The young king is helped back onto his horse. He draws his sword with his remaining strength, and with a silent signal, the charge begins. The small force of knights crashes into Saladin's unprepared army like a thunderbolt from a clear sky. They fight with a fierce, unstoppable intensity, driven by the image of their brave, suffering king riding alongside them in the thick of the smoke. Baldwin rides directly into the heart of the conflict. His physical limitations seem to completely disappear, dissolved by the sheer force of his willpower. He guides his horse with his knees, striking down enemies with absolute precision, his silver mask catching the blinding rays of the desert sun. Saladin watches in absolute disbelief from the hills. He sees his legendary army, which had conquered vast territories, breaking apart under the charge of a boy king and a handful of dedicated knights. The battle is swift and decisive. Against all mathematical odds, against all human logic, King Baldwin achieves a monumental, miraculous victory. Saladin is forced to retreat into the desert, narrowly escaping with his life, riding a swift camel through the darkness back toward Egypt. When the dust finally settles over the plains of Montcassar, a profound silence returns to the desert. The kingdom of Jerusalem is entirely safe, saved by the unyielding spirit of a 16-year-old boy. Baldwin does not celebrate with pride or arrogance. He gently sheaths his sword, looks out over the quiet battlefield, and offers a silent prayer of gratitude. He returns to Jerusalem not as a conquering tyrant, but as a gentle protector. The people weep with joy as his litter passes through the gates. They realize that though their king's body is fragile, his soul is made of the strongest iron. Let the peace of that victory wash over you. Imagine the cool evening breeze returning to the desert, soothing the heated sands as the young king finally rests after the great battle. Part 8. The burden of peace years pass, like shadows across the courtyard. Following the incredible victory at Montcassar, a fragile, beautiful peace settles over the Holy Land. Saladin, deeply moved by the courage and tactical brilliance of the young king, signs a series of truces with Baldwin. A profound silent understanding exists between them. They both recognize that the other is a ruler of supreme honor. But while the kingdom enjoys peace, Baldwin's internal battle grows infinitely harder. Leprosy is a relentless, unforgiving companion. By his early 20s, the illness has taken his eyesight, leaving him in a world of complete and total darkness. He can no longer see the golden walls of Jerusalem. He can no longer see the bright blue sky or the faces of his loyal friends. His limbs become paralyzed, leaving him entirely unable to walk or ride his beloved horses. He is confined to his royal bed, wrapped in soft linens, living in constant, agonizing discomfort. Yet, even in total blindness, even in complete immobility, King Baldwin refuses to abandon his duty to his people. He transforms his bedchamber into the absolute command center of the kingdom. He sits up in the dark, surrounded by his advisors, listening intently to reports dictated to him. His memory remains completely flawless, remembering every fortress, every treaty, and every noble family's history. When factions within his court attempt to manipulate him or create chaos, Baldwin silences them with a single calm sentence. His mind remains completely sharp, a beacon of absolute justice and stability in a turbulent world. He rules through pure intellect, pure moral authority, and the immense respect he has earned from every single soul in the realm. Think of the quiet dignity of this young man, lying in the darkness, experiencing profound physical suffering, yet completely focused on the peace and safety of thousands of families who sleep soundly under his protection. He carried the weight of the world without a single complaint. The spring of 1185 arrives. The air in Jerusalem is sweet with the scent of blossoming almond trees and the gentle warmth of the returning sun. Inside the royal palace, the long, heroic journey of King Baldwin IV is drawing to its natural, peaceful close. He is 24 years old. He has lived longer than any physician had ever predicted, outlasting the illness through the sheer, unadulterated force of his soul. But his work is now complete. He summons his nobility, his sister Sibylla, and his loyal tutor, William of Tyre, to his bedside. In the quiet, candlelit room, he ensures the smooth succession of the crown, making them promise to protect the people and maintain the peace he fought so hard to achieve. They weep openly around his bed, but Baldwin's face, hidden beneath the soft linens, is completely serene. He tells them not to weep for him, for he is finally going to be free of the heavy armor, free of the silver mask, and free of the painful body that had held him captive for so long. On the 16th of March, 1185, the Leper King takes his final, soft breath. The news of his passing ripples through the ancient streets of Jerusalem. A profound, deep silence falls over the entire city. Every shop closes. Every church bell tolls slowly, sending a heavy, sorrowful melody across the mountains. Even across the borders, in the camps of his enemies, there is deep mourning. When Saladin receives the news of Baldwin's death, he sits in total silence for a long time. He pays tribute to the young king, stating that the world had lost one of the greatest, most honorable rulers it had ever seen. Baldwin is buried in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, right next to his father under the cold, peaceful stone. His long warfare was over, and his eternal rest had finally begun. Breathe in deeply and feel the absolute peace that surrounded the young king in that final moment. The crown is set down. The pain is gone, leaving only a legacy of pure, undying light. Part 10, Outrow, and now. The story of the boy king fades gently into the desert wind, leaving behind a quiet echo of courage and peace. His life reminds us, in the softest way, that the true strength of a human being does not reside in the perfection of the physical body. It does not depend on an easy, comfortable path. True strength is found in the choices we make when the world grows dark. It is found in the kindness we show to others when we are suffering, and the quiet dignity we maintain when carrying our own hidden burdens. As you lie here tonight in the warmth and safety of your bed, realize that you too possess that quiet inner strength. Whatever challenges you face today, whatever worries are waiting for you tomorrow, you can let them go for now. You have fought your battles for the day, and now it is time to surrender to the night. Let your breath become slow, deep, and rhythmic, like the gentle waves of a calm ocean or the soft rustle of olive leaves in the evening breeze. Feel the heavy, peaceful warmth of sleep pulling at the edges of your mind. You are completely safe. You are completely at peace. The ancient stones of Jerusalem are quiet under the stars. The desert sands are still. The silver mask is put away, and the young king is at rest. Allow yourself to drift down into a deep, restorative sleep. Breathe in peace. Exhale the day. Sleep well, gentle soul. Sleep well and beautiful, peaceful dreams.